Hey everyone, welcome to another Ranking the Albums. And yeah, today I'm going to do Pink Floyd, one of my favourite bands, and a lot of people's favourite bands clearly on the internet, because there's a lot of Pink Floyd ranking album videos. There's, definitely the most out of all the ones that I've done. I think this is my 6th album ranking. Fire the Grey Man channel. So check out it's in the playlist. Check out all the other ranking videos we've done. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed watching all the ranking videos. Like I say, there's an awful lot, and I'm hoping this time, if you watch my Motorhead one, there was a little bit of a problem with the focus. It was a bit blurry, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, but fingers crossed. But yeah, yeah, just looking, sort of comparing to internet and my list, there isn't an awful lot of changes, but I would say there's definitely one album that I really like that people don't like that much. But apart from that, a few ups and downs, but yeah. So let's get into it. So I've got all the albums except one. And a lot of them are on the original vinyl, I believe, as well, which is cool. Yeah, I just got into Pink Floyd through, like, my parents, really. My parents actually were big early Pink Floyd fans. They actually, my dad actually went to the UFO club and saw Pink Floyd there, as well as sort of like places like Alexandra Palace. And yeah, he saw all them early bands back in the day. He was the first sort of countercultural hippie, really, both my parents. So yeah, I just got into Pink Floyd through them, really. So yeah, let's start off the ranking. There's a few albums I don't like that much, but I like pretty much everything by Pink Floyd. Even my bottom pick, yeah, is okay, and there's always at least sort of one song I like. So we'll start from the bottom. I don't own it, actually. It was the 2014 release of The Endless River. I've not even heard it that much, actually. I think I might have heard it once or twice through. It's okay. It's ambient sort of album, background music, really. I don't know, do I consider it a Pink Floyd album? Well, you know, not really. I mean, it was done by Gilmour and Mason as a sort of tribute to Richard Wright, which is nice, I guess, but it's just sort of outtakes, really, of Division Bell stuff. And they're not even a band playing or touring, so yeah. Some people have said it's a bit of a cash thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they particularly need the money, but anyway, it's okay as background music. It's too long. One song has lyrics, but I don't really rate that song all that much. So there you go. The Endless River. So number 14. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people likes this album, and to be honest, I'm gonna just be ranking the studio version of the album, because the live side is actually really good. I like the live side of this album. Of course, I'm talking about Ummagumma. Great album cover. Love the album cover. And yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, with the live side, it probably would move up my list, because the live side's really good, but I'm only going to review the studio side, because I'm just doing studio albums. And yeah, it's definitely the most bizarrest, self-indulgent, sort of over the top, quite extreme sounding, actually, for Pink Floyd. And in a funny way, I kind of applaud them for it, because what they come out with was a totally uncommercial album. When you think they were kind of building like a fan base and things like that, they come out with this like totally uncommercial album. So I kind of applaud them for that in a way. It's super experimental. But yeah, Richard Wright's Sisyphus, not great. I mean, it's basically him smashing the hell out of a piano. Roger Waters, I won't say the title, you know what I'm on about. Yeah, that's just completely crazy sound effect noises and him talking in a Scottish accent, because I think a Pict is an old Scotsman or something like that. But yeah, not great. Gilmore's The Narrow Way, probably, it's okay. I quite like the doomy intro, but I'm not that into the song. And Nick Mason's The Grand Fizzer's Garden Party, it's kind of interesting. Like he's kind of sampling drum loops and putting them together. It's quite really strange, but strangely interesting to listen to. But for me, by far the best song, and I really love the song, the best song on the album is Grantchester Meadows. I really love that song actually. It's, I can listen to that all the time. But yeah, just the one song. That's why it's down at number 14. But it's okay. It's a certainly interesting listen. So yeah, so at number 13, some people like this album a little bit more like it than not. Well, I wouldn't say that. I think more people like it than I do. And I'm talking about The Final Cut, Pink Floyd. Very dull cover. And it's kind of, I like the inside cover though, it's really good. Here's the back. Yeah, you know, obviously it's much more of a Roger Waters solo effort with, you know, not much input from the other players. I mean, you do get some Gilmore guitar solos and stuff. It's weird really, because I'm such a massive fan of Pink Floyd The Wall, as you can see, that you'd think I'd like this a bit, but I actually hated it for years. I've learned to appreciate it now, and that I find that with all the Pink Floyd albums, no album goes down in my list. They all sort of come up really over the years. I appreciate the passion that Roger's put into it, lyrically as well. You know, it's pretty emotional, and I've grown to sort of like a lot of it now. It's just musically, it's all pretty similar. It's kind of orchestrated, using orchestras as opposed to sort of rock band kind of thing, and it's you know, your music's pretty boring, I find, but yeah, I quite like The Post-War Dream, Your Possible Past I really like, and a lot of these were obviously left over from The Wall, so definitely The Final Cut, the title track's left over from The Wall, you can tell. My favourite song I would say is A Fletcher Memorial Home. I really like that. It's dark but also quite funny, about putting dictators in a sort of care home. But yeah, I've grown to sort of like it. I mean, the only track with Gilmore is Not Now John. I can't stand that song. Except you do get the backing singer saying fuck, which is pretty funny, but yeah, not too great, but some people really love it, and I can understand that, you know, it's a passionate project, you can tell. So there you go, Final Cut. I think with my my ranking video this week, I'm going to try and steer clear of the history of Pink Floyd and what was going on in the band at the time, because I noticed on YouTube there's a whole lot of that, so, and everyone knows Pink Floyd, you don't really need to talk too much about them. So yeah, at number 12, yeah, it's another one that tends to rank quite low, but I quite like some of it actually. It's the More soundtrack. There it is, quite a bizarre cover. And there's the back. My copy's Italian copy for some reason, don't know how I got hold of that, but I don't know if it's worth something, but like the first side's pretty good actually. Obviously you got the Nile song, which is like one of Pink Floyd's heaviest sort of songs, you know, like proto-metal song, really, a fantastic song. I love that. I really like the Crying song. Green is the Colour is really cool, and Cymbeline I like a lot. So they're the songs I really like. But the rest of it tends to be, especially the B-side, like a proper soundtrack where it's just instrumentals and sort of silly little pieces really. But yeah, Ibiza Bar is a bit like the Nile song Take Two. But yeah, there's quite a few songs now I don't mind. So yeah, that's more from '69. It's got to mention, like, actually it was really cool that Nick Mason's Source of Four Secrets band went and see him at the Roundhouse, and really great to see like the early Pink Floyd being played. And there's, you know, it's a sort of era that a lot of like fans don't know about, you know, people that are sort of casual fans of Pink Floyd. So that's really nice. It was all stuff pre Dark Side of the Moon. There was some great music from that time. My dad loved that era of Pink Floyd the most, actually. But yeah. Okay, at number 11, well, yeah, this one ranks a lot lower than most people's. I'm not really, I mean, I don't mind it now, like everything. The albums tend to rise up compared to how I felt about them. I didn't like this album for ages as well. I always thought of it as a sort of a more dull, Momentary, Lapse the Reason. So I've only got this on CD actually. It's the Division Bell. People really like this. I don't know. Again, it's very long again. I don't know. I just I find like half the songs are completely like boring, really. But some songs I do like. Yeah, What Do You Want From Me is okay. Poles Apart I like quite a lot. Well, We're in the Inside Out is the first song sung by Richard Wright. Like solo wise, I think since Stay on Obscured by Clouds, a long time. But I don't really like the song that much. Take It Back's pretty good. Coming Back to Life has a really emotional sort of beginning. Reminds you a bit like On the Turning Away kind of start, and then it just goes into kind of crappy music really. I would have preferred it to have just been like a ballad. Keep Talking with what's his name? Hawking, Professor Hawking. What's his name? Doing the talking. You know, apparently it was taken from a British Telecom advert, which I do remember. But I think that works really well. I quite like Keep Talking. That's not a bad song. But for me, like one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs and the massive highlight in it on the album is High Hopes. I fucking love High Hopes. Could well be in my top 10 Pink Floyd songs, and what a way to finish. I consider it the last Pink Floyd album really, so what a great way to finish. The video is fantastic as well. So, I love High Hopes. So for ages I only liked High Hopes from the album, you know, but I've grown to like a few more of the other songs. So yeah, that's Division Bell. So yeah, at number 10 we got the other soundtrack album. Let's get it out of its sleeve. Yeah, it's an interesting album as well. Like, it's sandwiched between two sort of classics, and it's an album I completely ignored for years. I just never really bothered listening to it, and it took me a while to get into, but I rather like it now. I mean, you can sort of tell that it was done in a hurry. I think it was only recorded in about 2 weeks. But it's got some really good songs in it. Some instrumentals that are really good, and some good songs. So back cover, I'm not sure about the cover, it's a bit bizarre. It's a still from the film of the guy in the tree, and apparently it was a mistake. The camera was out of focus and they thought it just looked pretty cool. I also I found it quite weird how the vinyl record looks with the rounded off edges. It makes it look like an EP almost. But yeah, pretty cool. But I really like the first two instrumentals, Obscured by Clouds and When You're In. Might need the whip on the old specs here. It's quite small. I love When You're In. Burning Bridges I really like. I really like Wright's vocals with Gilmour. It's one of the very few Waters Wright compositions as well. What else do I like? Stay. I really like Richard Wright's Stay. All the other songs are sort of alright. I don't dislike any of them. You know, The Gold Is In There and What's Early, the all sort of alright songs. Childhood's End is okay as well. 3-4, not too bad. But yeah, a few of the songs that I do like, I really like a lot. So yeah, that's another album that's grown on me. Obscured by Clouds. Another album that next on my list, I'm on number 9 now. Yeah, this is another album that kind of I sort of dismissed a bit, you know, and it took me ages to get into. But I really love certainly half the album, and that's because it has the long song on it. I'm talking about Atom Heart Mother. I think that's a pretty poor cover, actually. People seem to like this album cover. I'm thinking, well, it's just a picture of a cow. I mean, it's not that good. Some cows at the back, and we got the gatefold there. Very British. Feels like the most sort of prog rock album in a way that they done. You know, they're still trying to find their sound, but I gotta say, I think the Atom Heart Mother Suite is probably the most ambitious Pink Floyd has ever been, really, for one song. I mean, when you think about it, it's a very complex song. There's so much going on, and I love. It's not something they really touched on again, but I really love the horns. The horns make that song so amazing. It kind of reminds me of a sort of a western or something like that that hasn't been made, and I think that was the idea they were coming up with. But yeah, it's powerful, quite emotional with the horns. I like the middle section with all the weird singing, and I just think it's really good track. I love Atom Heart Mother Suite. It's really good. Now the B-side I've always been less keen on. People quite like the B-side, but I like If. It's funny they give one member of the band a song to do again. When you think about how unsuccessful that was on the last album, Mama Gamma, I'm quite surprised they did that again. But If I really like by Waters, you know, you can hear like one of his first lyrics about madness, you know. Summer 68, Right Song's okay, I'm not that into it. Fat Old Son's sort of okay again, Gilmour. And Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast is actually properly Nick Mason's song. I really don't like it. It's like, it's long. I think it's like, what, 10 minutes long, something like that, maybe longer than that actually. And you know, all you're really hearing is Alan, I believe, was the roadie making breakfast and talking about his breakfast with sort of really dull music in the background. It just doesn't, for me, doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, quite a lot of people like it, but I just never did. But for the first piece alone, and If, for me, yeah, Atom Heart Mother, really cool. My copy's really sort of old and a bit knackered, but good stuff. Yeah, next up, what we got? This is number 8. Yeah, I have to go to the classic debut, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which I think I might have the original copy, which may be worth something, I'm not sure, but yeah, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, cool cover, very psychedelic. I suppose it's the most sort of 60s psychedelic sounding album. But when you think of it at the time, it was still something really new. I think you take for granted because it sounds quite 60s, but like not too many people were coming out with music like this in 67. And it's great. A lot of it's really good. It's kind of it's quite hard hitting as well, you know, it's quite in your face as well, you know, it's maybe a bit more than other Pink Floyd albums. Obviously Astronomy Domini, fantastic, one of my favourite songs. I love Lucifer Sam, that's great. Matilda Mother, Richard Wright sings that one, I really like that. Walter's first song, Take Out Lies, Stethoscope and Walk, is kind of quite intense. It's okay. Interstellar Overdrive, awesome. I love that, you know, free flowing, playing, and that opening riff is really good. Again, quite heavy, you know. And that song, I've got the London version of the song that's about 17 minutes, you know, and I think live at the time it could be 10 minutes or it could be half hour, you know, depending how long they wanted to play it. But fantastic song. I'm sort of less into his nursery rhymey type songs, really. I'm much more into the sort of the psychedelic stuff, really. So I really like Chapter 24 as well. And it's interesting, actually, bass wise, you can actually hear like Roger Waters' kind of bass style that would carry on. Yeah, if you hear that song, like the bass is very much a Waters style of playing. I really like that song. And Bike's a classic, isn't it? You know, quite a funny song. So yeah, you get into albums I really like now. I would say, you know, I mean, more than half of that album I like. So good stuff. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty gutted that I don't have this album on vinyl. I thought I did, and to be honest, it's going to be hard to find. I don't want to pay a lot of money for it on the internet, so it's about trying to search it out in record shops, really. But I really like this album. It's never my favourite album from the 60s. It's A Source of Four Secrets. Really great album. And quite different from the first album in a lot of ways. It's got much more, it's still psychedelic, but much more in a kind of spacey kind of way. It's got more of a glacial sort of sound, for want of a better word. But I really like this, you know. Let There Be More Light, fantastic. Great opening, and you get to hear Gilmour for the first time. Very science fiction sort of lyrics. I absolutely love, probably my favourite Richard Wright song definitely is Remember a Day. Absolutely love it. And then you got Set the Controls with Heart of the Sun, which is fantastic. Although I think a lot of these songs actually end up sounding a bit better live. Set the Controls on here is great, but it's probably too fast. I think they slowed it down and made it a bit longer live, but like obviously on the Ummagumma and things like that, it's really, really great. Yeah, Corporal Clegg's okay. I think they're just trying to do a bit of a Syd Barrett-y type thing with that, so I'm not that keen on it. And then you get Source for Secrets, which is fantastic. But again, I really like the Ummagumma version and Pompeii versions as well. I like the way Gilmour sings the end. I think that works really well. Seesaw's okay. Reminds me of a Disney film or something. And Jug Band Blues, Syd Barrett's last sort of vocals for the band. Which is not too bad a song. It's okay. So yeah, the good songs in there are fantastic. So I really like this. Great album. Now, I think it's now time to get controversial. I get frustrated when people don't like this. I can kind of understand why, in a lot of ways, but I always think, it always feels like too much of an excuse to me, and I feel people need to just not worry about that side of things and try and listen to the music. I really like it, and I was the same. I thought it was too 80s, too commercial, but you just sort of can't deny the songs. And I'm talking about Momentary, Lapse of Reason, fantastic album cover as well. Love that album cover. Yeah, you could argue a bit like the Final Cut. It's not really a proper Pink Floyd album. You know, he gets Nick Mason back, and a bunch of sort of people. Richard Wright's sort of on it. Like Richard Wright isn't even got a picture inside, but yeah, it's a bit 80s, but I don't think it's as sort of 80s as people sort of make out. I mean, it's not Duran Duran, like, you know, it's not like when Rush did Power Windows. It don't feel like that, you know. It still feels like Pink Floyd. It still feels like Gilmour's guitar playing. It's very slick, but I think it has a great atmosphere, and I just love the songs. I think Signs of Life, the instrumental opening with the guy rowing, that's very relaxing. I love, and then his guitar comes in, it's beautiful. I love that. Learning to Fly, most people like Learning to Fly off the album. It's a great song. I love Learning to Fly. Yeah, Dogs of War maybe, for me, maybe is the most sort of cheesy sort of song on the album. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Dogs of War. It's okay, but I really love One Slip. Fantastic chorus. I love One Slip. But one of my favourite songs by Floyd actually is On the Turning Away. I love On the Turning Away. So emotional. I love the way it builds from just Gilmour singing, then other people come in and sing. It's just really epic and emotional, and lyrically it's really good. Obviously Gilmour didn't write too many lyrics, but I love on the Turning Away. Yeah, Another Movie's okay, with the Round and Around at the end. You got a little suite there with New Machine Parts 1 and 2 with Terminal Frost in the middle, another instrumental, which is pretty cool. But then you come to the last track, which is great, Sorrow. Absolutely brilliant atmospheric beginning with that sort of heavy distorted solo in by Gilmour. Just adds to the tension and the emotion. I love the way how that begins. So yeah, I just really like I really love the album, and you know, outside of like the big five, it's definitely my favourite. Like I say, I can sort of understand why people don't like it. It's very 80s, very commercial, and so on. But no, I've always loved it. So there you go, Momentary Lapse of Reason. So yeah, here we go. This is the big five, and it's a big five for everyone actually. These 5 albums are in most people's top 5, and there's good reason for that. They're absolutely fantastic. For me, in a way, they're interchangeable. They're all like virtually 10 out of 10 albums for me. All these 5, they're all like pretty much perfect, you know. And my next album, funny enough, I probably got into the latest, and it's another one I sort of ignored for quite a while, sandwiched between 2 sort of classics. And I think it's the album from the Big Five. They never played live other than the tour. So when I was young, growing up and listening to A Delicate Sound of Thunder and Pulse and all these albums, they never played anything live from this album, which is quite a shame really. So it's not one I sort of listened to years ago, so it took a while to get into, but now I love it, and it's one of my most satisfying albums to listen to. But I've only got it at number 5 because of that reason. When I see Roger Waters play Hyde Park, what was it, probably a couple of years ago, the highlights were definitely songs off this album. So I'm talking, of course, about Animals. There's the pig. Pretty legendary cover as well. And the funny thing about this album, actually, you could almost say this is like the leftovers from Wish You Were Here, because, well, even before Wish You Were Here, they were playing a couple of these songs under different names before they went to record Wish You Were Here, but they shelved them. But yeah, fantastic album. And I think with this one, you can tell it, you know, the punk movement has started. The album feels a lot more in your face. Certainly lyrically it is, whereas some of the albums before were more in this sort of depressing lyric mode. This is more angry, you know, it's more attacking lyrically, which is really cool. But and musically it's probably a little bit more maybe a little less atmospheric. I don't know. It's hard to say because you got like the obviously Pigs on the Wing, which is actually a love song about his wife, I believe. Sort of slightly twisted love song about his wife. They bookend the album. And then you got Dogs, one of my favourite songs by Pink Floyd. 17 minutes of sinister stuff going on, you know. Great cutting lyrics, beautiful guitar solos by Gilmour, and even that little synth passage by Wright I really love as well through the middle. I love Dogs, it's a superb song. Pigs, 3 different ones, I love that song as well. One of the pigs is definitely Mary Whitehouse because it's the only one he mentions. Again, really cutting lyrics again. I love it, and catchy tune, catchy lyrics as well. Sheep I like. I think it's easily like my least favourite of the 3, but it's still really good. Again, it's just the whole album's kind of dark and sinister, and I think you can sort of see out where they were going with this towards like something like The Wall, you know. And yeah, Sheep has a bit more of a groove to it, especially towards the end. It has that really strange spoken word bit, sort of almost comparing human beings to meat, you know. Really cool. And then it like ends obviously with Pigs on the Wing Part 2. So yeah, I really love Animals. So that's my number 5. So yeah, number 4. So I just smile when I think about these albums. Yeah, this is just fantastic album from '71. Of course, it's Medal. Fold it out, and it's an ear. kind of. I don't mind this cover actually. It maybe not the best, but I think I like it a bit more than maybe some people. But I love Medal. It's just superb. I think it's the first album Floyd did where I think they were taking themselves maybe a little bit more seriously. Also, I think it's the first album with Waters writes all the lyrics. So you can see where they're going, the direction, and it's a fantastic album. I mean, obviously you got One of These Days, one of my probably would I say it probably is the best instrumental, isn't it, by Pink Floyd? I can't think of any other ones. Maybe Atom Heart Mother, but no, I love One of These Days, and it's one of the older tunes they still played live right up until they stopped. Yeah, just driving bass and guitars, the slide guitar and all the effects, and then the sinister bass drums with Nick Mason coming in with the vocals. I always thought that was his first vocal in the band, but I believe he does vocals in Corporal Clegg actually. But yeah, fantastic. And then it just goes into the beautiful Pillow of Winds. I love Pillow of Winds. It's really relaxing and beautiful vocal by Gilmour. And then you get Fearless, which I absolutely love. One of my favourite Floyd songs. Love the lyrics. Yeah, Waters really sort of starting to sing about other people, as he said himself, you know. Yeah, fantastic song. Great little groove. Very English, you know. It has the Liverpool thing going on, the chants, but I love Gilmour's voice on it as well. Yeah, beautiful song. I'm less into Saint-Tropez. I don't actually like that song that much, to be honest. It sort of sounds a little bit out of place in a sort of kind of silly kind of song. Sounds a little out of place on the album. As does Seamus, but at the same time that's purposely a sort of funny song really, with the dog barking, and so I don't mind that, plus it's short, you know. And then of course you come to the legendary Echoes. Definitely one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs, as it is for a lot of people. It's just genius really all the way through. you know, the bing at the beginning, you know, sets the tone. I love Wright and Gilmour vocals together. They didn't do that enough for me. Like, it's beautiful when they do that, you know, like Us and Them on Dark Side, they sing together. Yeah, I love it. You know, goes into that dark section. There's that groovy section, and I love the way it comes out of the dark into the light, and then you get the another sort of verse. Lyrically, brilliant as well. You know, talking. You know, there's lyrics about, you know, people looking at each other, meeting, their eyes meet, and I am you. What I see is me. You know, that I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, just a beautiful song, and it's 23 minutes, and it never feels like it to me. It goes by like that. So yeah, that's my number 4. And so yeah, into the big 3 as well. These are probably the even bigger 3, certainly sales wise. And yeah, you could say it's obvious or whatever, but it's obvious, I think, for a reason. I mean, these 3 albums are absolutely fucking genius. So I'm going to go for number 3, and in by no ways is it necessarily the 3rd best album. It's just what I feel, you know. They're all pretty flawless, so I'm going to go for the brilliant Wish You Were Here. Great album cover, probably my favourite. I don't have the version. I think this is the original copy, but not with the black bag, unfortunately. Would be nice to get hold of the black bag copy, but probably goes for too much money now. Yeah, you got the inside. Thing with Hypnosis, which I thought was pretty cool, is you know, all their art was pretty much set up photographs. There's no digital, no computer work or anything. There wasn't really any computer work, you know, so they set up all the photos. It's pretty amazing, you know. Obviously the Man on Fire is real, you know. But I think they were keen on always doing that, even the Division Bell. I mean, that Division Bell album's great, but you could just computerise that, couldn't you? But they did it for real, so... Wish You Were Here. Oh. Shine You Crazy Diamond, I think it's probably my favourite Pink Floyd song of all time. I think it's pretty cool the way both bookends the albums, otherwise it would be about 26 minutes long, so I think that was a good idea. Yeah, the way Wright comes in with the keyboards is just the atmosphere straight up, very sad. Gilmour's guitar coming in is beautiful, and it's actually, when you think about it, it's just a straight blues song, really. Obviously lyrics about Sid, and it was, as everyone knows, it was quite bizarre when Sid Barrett himself turned up to the studio. That was weird. But I don't know, it's just a fantastic song, and I'm always pretty amazed how they just like with their music, it was all about leaving space and time. You know, they never like rushed anything really. You know, the vocals don't have to come in here. We can go play some more. You know, and it's actually over 8 minutes before there's any vocals, which is unheard of, isn't it? You know, and you don't care. You know, because the music's so fantastic. So yeah, part 1, then it goes into the awesome Welcome to the Machine. I absolutely love that song. Probably some of Richard Wright's sort of best and most sinister synth playing. It's just it's one of the sort of more depressing dark songs by Pink Floyd at that time, I would say, and sinister, and also like when they played it live, it come with that really quite terrifying video that came with it when you saw it live. And not that I was there obviously, but what I've seen later on. Fantastic, love Welcome to the Machine. I'm sort of less into Have a Cigar. Lyrically, you know, it's pretty funny. it's more of a sort of straight rock song. I kind of prefer the rest of the album that is more sort of depressing and dark and emotional, whereas Have a Cigar, maybe you do need to lighten the mood up a little bit, but I do like it, and I do like the lyrics as well. I've heard the Roger Waters version that he sung, and I think it's fine actually. I don't know why they felt the need to bring in Roy Harper, who does a great job, but anyway, yeah. Also, like, I get sort of a bit annoyed when people say that Roger Waters isn't a good vocalist as well. Yeah, David Gilmour is the better vocalist, and the more has that more ethereal kind of quality with his voice, but he can also do some hard rock vocals as well. But I love Roger Waters' vocals. I think they're really powerful, kind of psychotic. But you listen to Shine on Crazy Diamond, his vocals are brilliant on that. I also really love Richard Wright's vocals, and I kind of wish he sung more, you know. I mean, you think about Source of Four Secrets, he does quite a lot of the vocals on that album, you know, as well as some writing. And yeah, he kind of dropped out after Dark Side of the Moon. He dropped out of singing altogether, which is a bit of a shame because I did like his voice. Yeah, Wish You Were Here, of course. Everyone knows it. Great song, folky. I find it more like a folk song. Superb lyrics, which you could kind of interpret how you want in a way. Gorgeous, and then it just flows so great. The way it flows into the last part of that Shine You Crazy Diamond is great. Fantastic. The last part, I think, is Richard Wright's last writing credit for Pink Floyd, with that outro. Fantastic album, isn't it? And it's only number 3 for me, and it's kind of perfection in a way. So my number 2 is Dark Side of the Moon. So, back cover, got the inside. I don't know if you, I'm not sure how many people actually know this, but if you open it up that way, it all joins, as you can see, and it even joins to the other side for the heartbeats. I got all the, I'm not sure this is original because to me it seems in too good a nick, but yeah, I got the insides, the band, and the pyramid, which my parents had on their wall for ages. I didn't even know where it come from, but they had that on their wall for ages. And it's funny because my dad never liked this album when it first came out, because like when you think about it, when you talk about Momentary, Lapse, everyone goes, oh, it's commercial, it's 80s. Well, so was this. You know, this was very commercial compared to what they'd done before. So obviously my dad grew to love it, but to me it feels like the most realised and most creative Pink Floyd album. Yeah, and certainly the most collaborative. I think like every member really is involved with this album more than any other, I'd say. It's just like the perfect album all the way through. And obviously what I love about Pink Floyd with them 70s albums, they all sound so different. Even though they sound like Pink Floyd, they're all got different kind of styles. Dark Side doesn't sound like Wish You Were Here, Wish You Were Here doesn't sound like Animals, Animals doesn't sound like The Wall. Well, maybe a little bit actually, but you know, but you know, The Wall's a different style again. Even Metal's different, and I just love that with Floyd. But yeah, this is like, you got the spoken word stuff, so you know, Speak to Me, which obviously you know is like snippets from the album, but when you first hear it you wouldn't know that, would you? So Breathe, fantastic, beautiful song, and lyrically depressing, but like the lyrics are, you know, about I think Roger Waters said like I think he was talking about us and them more, but like, you know, can humanity you know, work towards being humane with each other, you know, and I think that's the theme going through the album. And also you can relate to the lyrics because it's how a lot of people feel about their life, you know. But Breathe is fantastic. On the Run is great. But, it's amazing. There's obviously the album's 1973, and that kind of experimental synth piece doesn't sound dated to me. You know, there's stuff from the 80s that sounds way more dated than that. It still sounds kind of relevant. The production on this album is just fucking first class. It's unbelievable, and yeah, On the Run is fantastic. And to me, it still sounds kind of modern in a strange way. It's really good. And then you come to you know, one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs ever, Time. And the song does give you time. You got Nick Mason's brilliant drum intro after the alarm clocks. Yeah, I love that. It's funny actually, going back to Momentary, That's the Reason, something I forgot to say is on One Slip, it kind of starts a bit like Time, but in a more modern way, because instead of alarm clocks, you get digital alarm clocks going off, and then drums, you know. I just thought that was quite interesting, but yeah, Time, fantastic lyrics, very sad, you know, and I really love Richard Wright's input vocally. It's like the perfect song, and the guitar solo is gorgeous, and then the Breathe reprise works so well. It's just one of my favourite songs ever. And then it goes into, well, funny enough, when I was saying, I knew there was another one. When I was saying about One of These Days being my favourite instrumental, I did forget about Great Gig in the Sky. I mean, what an amazing song, you know, and probably Richard Wright's best piece of music. The music is gorgeous, but obviously it's made more amazing by Claire Torrey. Amazing vocal. She was not paid hardly anything for it, but she does now because she's got a credit now, which I think she deserves actually, because she makes the song amazing. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, I don't think it was done in one take. It was done in a few, because she started doing your typical "Oh Babies" and stuff like that, and she was told to, no, don't do that, just make your vocal sound like an instrument. And she was told about feeling death and pain and all that, and that was it, you know. I think she did it in a couple of takes, and they took the best from both takes, but it was done quickly, and it's just a phenomenal piece of music. So yeah, you come to the B-side as old school there. I still think of it as final and the B-side. Yeah, Money. Money's probably the only song I'm not really overly keen on. I still like it a lot. I mean, obviously it's still a great song, but it's definitely much more commercial, and definitely the obvious single from the album in the US. US fans probably, well, I'm sure they do know, because big fans, you know, but there wasn't actually a single released in Britain since Point Me to the Sky, and they didn't release any UK singles until Another Brick in the Wall, but Money was quite a big hit in America. Strange Time, obviously, 7 Time, and it you know, the lyrics are pretty funny and it's groovy, but it's kind of a bit Americanized sounding. It's one I off the album so I don't want to sound bad by saying I could do without. I can. It's still a good song, you know. But yeah. So, but then that goes into Us and Them, which is a gorgeous song. Sort of one of the saddest on the album, of an album that's pretty sad. Yeah, Richard Wright's vocals with Gilmour, and again, it's pretty quiet at the beginning. It's music that was taken from Zabriskie Point, I believe, originally. And the choruses are so powerful, you know, with the backing singers, and all the band singing. It's just big and passionate, and yeah, there's just a little bit There's just a bit in it that Richard Wright does that's so simple, but it just makes it. It just makes the song bloody amazing. Hang on. Hang on. One of the choruses, yeah, there it is. Yeah, listen, son, said the man with the gun, and it's just the way Richard Wright goes, gun. For some reason, I just friggin' love that. It just makes the song so great. But yeah, what a fantastic song. Goes into any colour you like. Nice, cool instrumental. And then you get like probably one of the best album closers of all time. I absolutely love Brain Damage and Eclipse. Brain Damage, The Lunatic on the Grass, which was talking about a piece of grass that was in Cambridge. And of course, talking about Sid, no doubt. Brilliant song again, but it's made brilliant by the way it goes into Eclipse, and the listing lyrics, all that you want, all that you can, so on and so forth, and the way it builds to the end. Everything under the sun is in tune, and the sun is eclipsed by the moon. Just such a amazing ending to an album, and it always gets your hairs up. It's also always hugely emotional when you hear that ending, isn't it? So altogether, understandably why it sold a kajillion records. It's an absolute classic. So there you go. It's not my number one, but yeah, it is. My number one album, you would have guessed it now. Well, what can I say about this album? It is probably my favourite album of all time. And no album I've ever heard has got me as emotional than this album. Not even close. Obviously started hearing it as a kid. It terrified the hell out of me. It still, in a way, does terrify the hell out of me. It is a pretty terrifying album. Incredibly dark and emotional, and of course I'm talking about The Wall. Great album cover. I was always like absolutely fascinated by the inside cover, because it was actually Gerald Scarfe. They got a new designer in, and it absolutely makes this album even better, just the artwork. I was always fascinated looking at how sort of dark and twisted the artwork is on this album. It's just something else. I mean, Gerald Scarfe's mind. What also, when they did the film in '82, I was already a kid then, so all that had come out already. So I always think of it all as a one multimedia thing, which is what he wanted anyway, the album, the concert, and the film. And for me, the film captures exactly how I feel about this album. I feel this album is maybe darker than what people think, because the film is super dark, super scary. I think it's like a horror film to vinyl record. And and the songs are great, and the production is amazing. Some of Gilmour's best guitar solos on this album. I'll quickly go through the songs because there's so many. A lot of people say you could take out a few of the songs that are filler, but they're not filler. They all make up the album. It's not an album where you pick a song here and there. It's an album you really got to listen to all the way. Some people say, "I'll take out Bring the Boys Back Home, take out Fearer." No way do you take them songs out. They're amazing. Don't take anything out of it. It's brilliant. In the Flesh, one of the most aggressive, powerful songs. That ending with the bloody plane coming down, it's too much. The Thin Ice I love, dark, brooding, and one of my favourite Gilmour guitar solos. That guitar solo at the end really tells you what you're in for this album. You're not in for an easy ride. It's gonna be dark. I love it, and Nick Mason's drum fill and then the big power chord. It's one of my favourite moments in all of Pink Floyd. It's brilliant. Another Brick in the Wall Part 1, probably my favourite, just because it's kind of spooky, you know. Broden, love it. Happiest Days of Our Lives, funny song, but works so well going into the big hit. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Great song, you know, anti-establishment, anti-school. Really good, because I'm from London, so it's really nice that they put in like the Islington school. You can tell they got the London accent. It's got a bit of a disco vibe to it, which is probably what made it quite a big hit, made it cross over a bit. Good guitar solo, I love it. And then it goes into another one of my favourite songs by Pink Floyd, Mother. Obviously the song's about how much well, he was held back by his mum, by what's the word, sort of an over loving mum, you know, wrapping him up in cotton wool and not letting him fly, as one of the lyrics says. Brilliant lyrics, brilliant song, a lovely guitar solo in it as well. Mother is brilliant. And actually what I love about the film soundtrack is a lot of the songs are different on that, and I actually really like Mother on the film soundtrack. It's really different, but I love it on that. Side 2, Goodbye Blue Sky. Yeah, I struggle to contain myself with that song nearly enough every time I hear it, because again it reminds me of the film and that really powerful animation that's on it. But it's such a hauntingly beautiful song. Yeah, I've sort of only found out recently. I thought it was a little girl saying, "Look, Mother, there's an aeroplane up." Is it "Look, Mother" or "Daddy"? There's an aeroplane up in the sky. It's "Look, Mummy," isn't it? But that I believe that's Roger Waters' son, actually. But yeah, just phenomenal song. It's funny, on the vinyl record you got the inside. I love even the writing. Empty Spaces is next, but they were originally going to do What Do We Do Now for the film, but they didn't have space for it. But they still had the lyrics down here, because I think they were hoping to get it on the album, but it never worked. But that's a good song off the film. As is As the Tigers Broke Free as well. It's one of my favourite songs. Yeah, Young Lust, quite a pastiche of a rock song, really. Good fun, pretty good song. One of My Turns, really good. He Loses It. Don't Leave Me Now, really good. Another Brick in the Wall Part 3. He's angry now. He wants to be left alone. And then Goodbye Cruel World, as he's completely surrounded by the wall. It was really nice. And one of my favourite concerts to actually finally see Roger Waters' The Wall at the O2 in London. Never thought I'd ever see The Wall ever be performed, so that was pretty amazing. I fucking cried twice, especially during another Brick Wall Part 1, where they had all the footage of the army soldiers coming home and seeing their kids. That was something else, but the whole thing was pretty amazing, and the new image footage, obviously with newer technology for The Wall, was just pretty astonishing. That was an amazing concert. So yeah, record 2, Hey You, awesome, brilliant track. Again, one of Gilmour's best sort of vocals and also guitar solos. Heartbreaking again, as most of it is. Hey You's awesome. Is there anybody out there who used to scare the hell out of me when I was young? I didn't like to hear that because it was scary. Nice little classical bit and at the end, bit of classical guitar. Nobody Home is okay. Fearer. I love Bring the Boys Back Home. It's only it's less than a minute, but it's really powerful. I really love it. And then that goes into obviously the legendary Comfortably Numb. Don't really need to talk about that. It still brings a tear to my eye lyrically. and obviously one of the best guitar solos ever. Yeah, and then yeah, the show must go on. You're on to the final side now. Show must go on, and then you got which is okay. You got in the Flesh Part 2, where he's becoming a sort of a dictator, maybe in his mind. You know, he's at the show now, but he's completely isolated himself now. Run Like Hell, very good rocking tune, very sinister lyrics. Waiting for the Worms I really like. Yeah, very in your face, isn't it? You know, and they do the Brick in the Wall riff repeats quite a lot in songs like Hey You and Waiting for the Worms. I mean, it almost feels more like a film soundtrack than some of their film soundtracks, like Obscured by Clouds. It's got lots of short songs. It has that vibe to it. I think he definitely had a film in mind, you know, when he wrote this. Waiting for the Worms is great. Stop decides to he's had enough of all this, and then yeah, one of the best songs, The Trial. I mean, how do you even think about something like that? I mean, Roger Waters' mind, honestly. The Trial is just amazing. Like, you know, it's like the best musical, isn't it, ever written? You know, and it ends with the grand ending, and the wall comes down. I love the judge and his voice. You know, really sinister. I don't know if there's an effect on his voice. It kind of sounds like there is. I've always wondered how that voice happens on that song, whether it's like some sort of effect. And it ends with the wall coming down, which is like only Dark Side of the Moon, I think, with that ending sort of comes close to that amazing ending. And you got Outside the Wall, and then it all starts again, because as you know, Isn't This Where We Came In at the end gives it a complete loop. And also the music for Outside the Wall is the same as the intro to In the Flesh at the start of the album, so it's quite a depressing kind of idea that we're all building walls up and tearing them down in our lives, you know. So, but yeah, fantastic album. It's not everyone's number one. It was a few people's number one, but you know, it's I can understand, like, even people having it quite low down, because it's quite a difficult album to sort of like get into and grasp. But if it hasn't sort of got under your skin, I think it won't do, you know. Whereas some of the albums might do that. But yeah, my favourite Floyd album, arguably. And that's it. So thanks very much for tuning in. There's a lot of I'm going to be sharing this around to a lot of people. There's a lot of Pink Floyd album rankings to send this video to, so hopefully I can get quite a few listens and watches. So thanks for tuning in. This is going to be on the Grey Man channel, so check the links down below. If you go into the playlist, you can see the other album rankings that we've done, as well as all of Grey Man's content. There's always loads of stuff up. I'm not sure, I think, because me and Gray were doing rankings together, but I've kind of run out of stuff we both like from bands that have sort of finished. There is one band, but I can't get all the albums. Well, my sister's got all the albums and the COVID thing, so I might do another one myself. I think just off the top of my head, I got a feeling I might do Led Zeppelin next. Yeah, check that out. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you agree or disagree with your list. Put down below your list. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.